Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Violent Night, starring David Harbour and John Leguizamo. Now, the whole idea of putting Santa in a more violent or horrific direction isn't exactly a new concept, but considering that a lot of people see Die Hard as a Christmas classic, and a lot of people do see David Harbour as uh, as an actor with many interesting roles to his name, such as the Sheriff from Stranger Things or the Red Guardian from Black Widow, it only makes sense to turn him into a Santa Claus that kicks ass. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story here takes place in a year when Santa feels that the kids throughout the holidays have become far too needy and almost like they don't believe in him anymore, and that they just want more products to consume rather than believing in the true spirit of Christmas. But when a rich family compound gets over sieged by a group of mercenaries who want millions of dollars that are locked away inside the compound, Santa finds a little girl named Trudy who happens to be a truly good girl deep down. And he finds that he can't just allow her to be harmed by these criminals, so Santa decides to try a rescue operation while also taking out all the criminals on his naughty list along the way. So it's basically what if Die Hard and Home Alone met a Santa movie. And it definitely does deliver on that, not only with references to both Die Hard and Home Alone, but also with some really cool fight scenes, some gory as hell kills, and even some hilarious moments from its cast members. David Harbour has always been a really entertaining actor when it comes to a lot of his movies, even in his bad stuff, like with the Hellboy film. And considering that they happen to turn this Santa into a bit of a Norse Viking on top of his holly jolly roots, I really do appreciate how he does feel like a more violent and more cynical version of Saint Nick, but he still clearly believes in the true meaning of Christmas, and most of his kills that happens are either in self-defense or done for the cause of protecting the innocent. So it's still very easy to root for him even when he's doing the whole John McClane thing. On top of that, John Leguizamo, who plays Mr. Scrooge, yes, that's his code name, happens to be a very effective villain. He not only has a reason for hating Christmas, but he happens to generally make the most out of his role by being a rather hammy villain who works off of David Harbour rather well. The rest of the cast is pretty good too, but it's actually interesting how outside of Harbour and Leguizamo, there aren't that many other cast members who I recognize that much. Probably explains why the budget's only $20 million. The visual effects that are used are there, but used sparingly enough to the point where you can tell that they had to rely on real sets with real fight scenes and with real choreography. And it actually works really well considering when you compare it to all the other CGI explosions and the visual effects overload that you see from stuff like Marvel movies nowadays. This is bloody, gory, and filled with tons of kills that you might see in a Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. And thankfully, the Santa's far more likable than the one in Silent Night, Deadly Night, so you'll have a fun time with him. That's not to say that the film's perfect, though. There are flaws. Some of the other side characters can get pretty obnoxious, even when it comes down to that being the point of them. I do think some of them overplayed that role a little bit, and the ending of the film might be a bit too far in terms of believability, even when it comes down to everything that happened. I just think that the ending could have been tweaked a bit more. But despite this, Violent Night probably won't be a Christmas classic on the same level as Die Hard and Home Alone, but as far as a violent Santa movie that happens to have a good message, as well as having some amazing scenes, I do recommend it, and it's certainly no lump of coal. In fact, it gets an 8 out of 10. See you next time.